Ictc. Ictc is a distributed transaction framework for defining applications on IC network. It supports Motoko language. Motoko developers need a development framework that addresses the issue of atomicity in order to lower the development threshold. The core idea of Ictc is inspired by the DTC, which is commonly used in the financial sector. Ictc consists of transaction manager, task actuator, and the transaction compensator. Transaction order: a transaction including one or more transaction tasks that requires all tasks to be either fully successful or fully rejected. Transaction task: a task within a transaction, including local tasks of the caller and remote tasks of other parties involved. The task actuator uses best effort delivery policy and will definitely return a result. Synchronous actuator and asynchronous actuator are supported. The transaction manager is used to manage the status of transactions, operate the actuator, handle exceptions, and call the compensator. Transaction manager implementation includes the Saga transaction manager and the 2PC transaction manager. The transaction compensator function is implemented in Transaction Manager and is used to execute compensation operations when an exception occurs in a transaction, including automatic compensation, governance, or manual compensation. An alpha version of Ictc has now been developed to support Saga mode, with support for forward and backward modes. The basic needs of DeFi development can be met. This web, ICSwap, are currently using Ictc. Let's take a look at the demo. This is an example and the code is open source on GitHub. This is the link. We provide a UI for viewing and managing Ictc transactions. You can view a normally completed transaction, including its executed tasks. You can also view a transaction that encountered an exception and was successfully rolled back with the status recovered. When a forward mode transaction encounters an exception, or when a backward mode transaction encounters an exception on rollback, the transaction is in a blocking state and requires governance or manual compensation to complete the transaction. The Ictc UI provides an interface for managers to compensate transactions for operations such as removing tasks, appending tasks, and executing completion transactions. Managers need to be prudent in handling compensation operations, which can introduce problems such as breaking data consistency and leading to centralization. A way to circumvent these issues is to give permission for compensation operations to a governance smart contract rather than to an individual manager.